million. Deserve a tax. These days I stress test every deal with realfimodel.com. Break your own numbers before life breaks them for you. Broker ghosted, friends called, and where's our money?
On paper, a 1031 exchange is genius. You sell a building, skip the capital gains tax for now, and roll every dollar into another, like kind property. Feels like monopoly money raining from the sky. In reality, you're compounding risk as fast as...
What went wrong? Let's turn the wreckage into a masterclass. A, leverage without a plan. B, just because the bank hands you $40 million doesn't mean you take it. One tenant, big loan, fragile. B, over-optimistic assumptions, 5% rent growth plus a 5%.
If I'd actually sat down and modeled what happens if rent doesn't grow, if cap rates don't compress, if the tenant bails, I probably would have passed on the $50 million victory lap. That's why I like tools that force you to see reality before you wire money.
$15 million. We bought for $15 million. $10 million was the loan, $5 million our equity. Then we sold for $20. At this point, my spreadsheets were starting to look like a Marvel origin story. You couldn't tell me it.
Bought for 10. Loan was 7, we put in 3. Held it a couple years, sold for 15. I thought I was Ray Dalio with better hair.
Let's roll the dice again.
Buddy, I am the dice. Market went my way, the leverage pays.
We bought for 20, put 15 on the loan, 5 in equity. Sold for 25. Now the chest is puffed out. We're walking around like we invented real estate. At this point, either my broker was my guy or I was his. We were basically
fine. A buddy drops a $50 million deal on my desk. The broker says 5% rent growth, sell at a 5 cap. At that point, he could have said, we'll put a Starbucks on Mars and refinance with alien debt, and I would have nodded. Loans 40, my friends bring 8, I'm a superstar.
Then one day, tenant leaves. Just like that. The rent check that was supposed to make everything work, gone. My friends start calling, hey, how's our deal doing? And I'm refreshing my inbox looking for my broker like I'm waiting for a text back from an ex.
Lesson 1. Just because a bank hands you $40 million doesn't mean you should grab it. High leverage, one tenant, it's a house of cards. 5% rent growth plus a 5% exit cap, that's a tightrope over reality. One wobble and you're toast. We let avoiding taxes drive the bus. The better question...
A 1031 exchange is a tool, not a cheat code. If the next deal's a lemon, paying a bit of tax beats levering into a disaster. Don't let ego pick the loan size. Just because a bank will hand you $50 million doesn't mean you should carry it. And protect your friendships.
If I'd actually sat down and modeled what happens if rent doesn't grow, if cap rates don't compress, if the tenant bails, I probably would have passed on the $50 million victory lap. That's why I like tools that force you to see reality before